All right. Let's just use, let's see. Just a filbert. Dum 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 dum. All right, guys. So, when it comes to oil painting, there are lots of different colors of paint you can buy, but that can get expensive pretty fast. Hey, Billy. How's the sound, Billy? It's a new camera angle for me, so I'm not sure I've got this quite done. All right, so we're going to start off looking at just evaluating colors for your essential palette, which means what paints can you get by with and still make all the other colors that you want to use. So let's take some alizarin crimson, and we'll kind of just run some alizarin crimson out here. I may need a couple of different brushes. And then, let's see, get another filbert. I don't have to have a filbert, just give me anything. This will work. I'll clean these out later. And maybe some phthalo blue. Now, we'll take this phthalo blue on into this alizarin crimson. Just kind of mixing these colors. And then, let's see, do I have any white over here? No. So let's put some white. I'm working on the opposite side of my table today, so I may have to get up and down and get a couple things here along the line, but we'll find out. So let's just take that and apply some white just to see what color we have here. And you can kind of see that this phthalo blue has really taken over this alizarin crimson. So you do have some lavender right here in the middle. Just keep adding alizarin crimson to this. But there's not anything there that's really, it's okay. Okay, now it's a little to the red side. So now let's just bring it on down this way. That's a little too much white, I think. And you can see you've got a nice little reddish hue. So you can make a lavender color just continuing to add some red or add some blue to this using alizarin crimson and phthalo blue. Now, but let's take, and that'll work out pretty good. It may not be too many people show up to this because I didn't share it across the different platforms today. So, but it's okay. I can always share it out later. So let's stay with the alizarin crimson for a minute, but let's use a different type of blue, because really what we're looking for is a blue that we can use, over and over and over again to make different colors. So now, and there's a couple of things that'll make a difference. One is the brand of paint you're using and how much pigment that might have. So now this is ultramarine blue. I think I'll add just a little bit of, there we go. I'm just going to add a little bit of linseed oil to this just to make it flow a little better on this watercolor paper. Okay, then let's come back with our alizarin crimson. All right, and we'll add a little bit of white to that and clean the brush out. So where I've kind of started is we want to start with just the primary colors. So right now we're working in reds and blues. And here you can see that this gives you a little bit more of a, just adding some white here so you can see these colors a little better. So now you can kind of see the range. So you can see with the ultramarine blue, you've got a little bit cooler, a little more cooler lavender at one end of the scale. And you can see that this has kind of got a little bit of a grayish hue to it. But overall, it's okay. All right. Now I wonder how fast these paints are going to dry up in this. So let's take some yellow. It doesn't, well, yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't really matter which kind of yellow you use, but yeah, it kind of does. And let's look and see how we can make green without buying green. So this is in the ultramarine blue side. You can see you can get a pretty good contrast of green. Billy, how are those colors showing up on the camera? Are they showing up fairly clear? Or are they kind of not showing up clear? All right, let's get a little bit more of this phthalo blue over here, and then bring it into this yellow. And you can see here that you've got a much more vibrant green using phthalo blue than what you'd have over here. So the different shades of blue, whatever blue you decide to add to your essential palette, right, it's going to make a difference. So in my particular case, I'm kind of, you could actually use this green here as your underpainting, as your darker color, and then this color is maybe even so much as a highlight, right? So you carry this on out a little bit further, just add some yellow here, and you can just kind of trace that on out. So that's a pretty good experiment there. All right, let's clean the brush again. Now, so let's go the other end of the spectrum. Let's put some yellow out, and we'll kind of take it to the other end of the table here. So we're working only with the basic colors right now. Throw some yellow up here. Clean the brush out. Pick up some alizarin crimson. Hi, Axel. So now in both cases here, we've got alizarin crimson. We're not using two different colors of blue. You can see as we move across this yellow, all the different shades of. Now, this yellow, this particular yellow with this alizarin crimson, is kind of giving you more of a pinkish orange than an actual orange that I would be looking for if I was like painting a pumpkin or something, like a cad orange. So let's look at the difference in that, and then we'll look at a couple other different reds and blues and orange to see what we could do with that. So this is just cad orange right on the paper, to give you an idea of kind of the orange that we'd like to see. So let's see. Let's get so now as we're looking at this, you can see the yellow is very yellow, but the alizarin crimson, being a transparent color, is not really giving up an orange that I would like to live with. So let's just put some more of this back down here, and let's just pick up some. Now this is bright red, but instead of alizarin crimson, you could use quinacridone magenta. So you can see that the red is opaque and this is not. So now here you've got really a much more hot orange than you do with the alizarin crimson. I'm not really bothering to clean the brush. I'm just picking this up. So now, and so right in here, you can see you've got a very hot orange in here. And that's something I would probably like to use in some cases. So, you've got your primary colors, red and yellow and blue. So as you're trying to figure out what your essential palette is, pick a red and a blue and a yellow that you like, that works. Being careful that even with you can see here on the alizarin crimson already, you can see some of the paper showing through right here, right? Because this is a transparent color. And so if you're mixing that and something that's got a lot of potency to it, like this phthalo blue, right? It's gonna take a lot more of the alizarin crimson to shift this into the violet mode than it is going to be for something like a quinacridone or even bright red. So, but if you learn to work with these, and then you can definitely make all. We've got quite a few colors here, from this greenish yellow all the way around to yellow, back to orange, back to red, back to lavender, back to blue, right? So we've made the secondary colors through here as well. So you can try different reds and different yellows. Like, let's get a different, do I have another yellow around here? I'm sure I probably do. Yeah, here's one. So, if you learn to mix these colors, then you don't have to buy so much paint. You don't have to have so many different colors around. Now this yellow is Naples yellow. I'll just kind of mix some of this out here. Can you guys see that okay? Let me move it over a little bit. So this Naples yellow is shifting a little bit more toward earth tones instead of that bright yellow. All right. Let's pick up some, let's start with the alizarin crimson. I think I need a little bit of medium with that. And so here you can see, well, I hope you can see. Let me move some of this out of the way. You come over here. That as you move this out, that your orange starts coming in. It's not as bright as this orange, right? But it's not as dull as this orange is either. So, and red and yellow, of course, makes what? Orange, right? So let's pick up just bright red and just a little bit of medium so they'll mix a little better. This might have shown up a little better if I put it on, not put it on watercolor paper, but that's okay. We got what we got right now. Okay, so you can see this Naples yellow, again, is even with the bright red, that you're not getting the warm orangey color, that you might be looking for. So that's a little too far toward the other side of yellow. So let's go to have any other yellows that I could try. I'll tell you what, let's try this. Let's try a couple transparent colors together this time. Another set of transparent colors. And let's use some Indian yellow. I haven't cleaned my brush out, but it's okay. So that's a nice, pretty yellow. That's always so pretty. And let's pick up some alizarin crimson. And a little bit of medium. This medium's just helping it on the... And oh wow, yeah, you're picking up... Getting a nice bright orange out of this with these, mixing these two transparent colors. All right. So now let's take that transparent color over here. So, you know, this is just basically how to go through and experiment with your colors. It doesn't take a lot of paint to do this. You could even like structure this in a color wheel if you want. Get you a color wheel and then try to match it. So, all right, we're going to use this opaque color. This is bright red. Yeah, you got sort of a reddish orange because the opacity of the red is kind of overtaking the transparency of the yellow in this case. All right, so any questions so far? All right, we'll set these, let's switch these to the side. Let's talk about one more color. Let's take some, let's take some phthalo blue. Let's try to make a little bit of it like a Christmas brown. So let's take some phthalo blue, some medium. Earth tones, use a lot of earth tones in paintings that, for lots of different things. But let's take that and some alizarin crimson. Oops, dropped my paint on the floor. And this should give us what color? Alizarin crimson and red. Come on, guys. This is participative. Alizarin crimson and blue will give us what? Emily. How's your day going, kid? My dear, sweet Emily. All right, so you get this nice lavender color right here that we're laying off here. Now, we're going to take that and we're going to add some yellow to this. And what we should get, it's a little too much yellow, but it's okay. We'll just add some more of these other colors. Alizarin crimson. And a little bit of blue. And you get this really nice, warm Christmas brown. It's chocolate grim. So by adding blue and crimson and yellow together, and of course, you know, this color will vary a little bit depending on, let's see if I can put a little bit of white in here where you guys can see the colors a little better. You can see that nice warm brownish color. It's a nice earth tone. And then if you want to lighten that, you can just add some more yellow to it, right? And it'll lighten it right up. Ooh, it's so pretty. Something in the way in the camera. I don't know what it is. I think it's the edge of the thing. There we go. I think it's the edge of the magnifier. Okay, so that's all that I wanted to cover on this round. We talked about using transparent colors and opacity colors, right? We talked about using the 3 primary colors, yellow, blue, and red. We started off with alizarin crimson, and then we also used some bright red over here on this part. We added to that some phthalo blue and created these violets, finding out that this violet with ultramarine blue is a little darker than this violet, and this violet over here is a little flatter than this violet. So, you know, you want to kind of think about that as well. Then we added different types of yellows to the green, and we saw that we got kind of a brighter green out of the phthalo blue mixture than we did with ultramarine blue, because ultramarine blue's got a lot more pigment to it. Although all the blues have a lot of pigment, pretty much. So you just got to remember that as you start to mix them. If you want to know about pigment loads, you can find them on the tubes themselves. And I don't have that scale in front of me, but... So if you work with the primary colors and you spend just a little bit of time working your way through them and just kind of experiment, you can begin to, you hear me often talking about puddle painting, and when I'm painting, I'm constantly talking about puddle painting. So what that may mean is I've got some alizarin crimson and I'm painting with that, and then I'm going to move to some lavender, or maybe I'm going to move to a blue, so I may move some blue up here, but I'm going to mix that over here. So I'll take some of this alizarin crimson and put it in this blue. Then I may shift to a darker blue, put an ultramarine blue, and then eventually move on over to some yellow. But if you keep these paints, keep painting in this puddle like this, it gives your painting a lot of good tonal consistency as you move between the layers, especially in your shadows and your highlights. So just think about that. If you watch other artists too, like Marion Dutton and Andrew Tischler, all those guys are puddle painters. So, you know, it gives you a lot of good tonal consistency across the way. On the next color mixing video, we will talk about skin colors, how to make skin colors with oils. There's a couple different and other types of earth tones as we go, and we'll do that using really what amounts to an essential palette for skin tones, and you can decide there what you want to do. So basically on my essential palette you see quinacridone, magenta, or alizarin crimson. You see me swapping in blue, either ultramarine blue or phthalo blue, and then a yellow, which is usually a lighter color, lighter than Naples yellow, so which is what's this darker color, sword yellow ochre. So like cad yellow is good. Indian yellow is good if I'm working in transparents. And be aware when you, like I said before, if you're using transparent paint versus opaque paints, that color mixing is going to vary based on that. So let me see if I have any last questions on here. Looks like somebody had a question. If Facebook would stop. Warm and cool. Yeah, I mean, this end of the, we talked about this a little earlier, but of course, as we move across this layer, we have, and as of course we're getting warmer as we move up the scale. But moving toward this end, you can see that the blue is showing through here on this violet color. But yeah, I do consider that most of my paintings are usually tonally in one category or another. I painted a painting yesterday on video, live video, that was it was a hot painting. It was almost all orange and yellow and reds. So there were a few earth tones thrown in here and there, but the whole painting just lights up. That's good for some paintings, and of course some paintings you want to you want to be a little more cool. It does. You can have a warm winter scene, but it's and I've done some of those, but you know, be aware of as you're moving toward your blues, that you're moving into you know, something that's a little more cool. These greens are a little more cool, but you can see that this color here, this green, is much more cool than this green, and that's because this is ultramarine blue and this is phthalo blue. Too transparent. This is a transparent color. This is not a transparent color. Ultramarine blue is, well, it's semi-transparent, but it's a very high pigment load. So, and I think I can probably show you that. Let me try it real quick. I don't know if I can show you that on this video or not, but I'm going to try. So this is ultramarine blue. Let's just get a little bit of medium with this so it'll spread out. You can see that. And then let's just clean this and slap some phthalo blue down here on this side. And you can see that although they're both in blues, that the ultramarine blue is carrying a much larger pigment load. So phthalo blue and then ultramarine blue. You can definitely see how much difference in the pigment loads in those two. So, and that's going to make a difference on how much of any color you want to add to that. But like I said, if you're puddle painting, then what's a good practice is pick your dark tone. Let's pick ultramarine blue. We'll just throw that in there since we already have it. And then if I want to make something that's a little more lavender, take some paint out of this puddle and put it over here, and then pick up some color and move it. And then once you kind of decide, you know, how tonal is that, right? This is kind of a lavender color. Then pick up some more and move it again. And pick up off this pile and move it. And then pick up off this pile and move it again. And now you see that we're kind of, over here we're kind of into the browns, and over this kind we're moving back into the reds, right? So we're all earth tone here, we're blue here, we're really blue here. So you got these nice set of tones to work with. You got your dark tone, you've got your mid-tones, and you've got your highlights. So, you know, just think that through as you're painting. It's really good to just kind of sit and experiment like this, because once you understand this, oh, sorry, leaned right on the cord. Once you understand this and you spend a little bit of time working with it, it'll become very easy as you apply it to the canvas. If you try to just take it out of the tube and mix it and slap it up on the canvas, you're just as likely to end up with mud, which normal painting, that's kind of okay. You can wipe it right off and do it over. But it's nicer still to be able to just know in your head that, you know, this, even if you just like take these, you create yourself a set of color swatches like this and just put it up on next to your canvas. So then you can remember, like, you could even write notes along the side, like this is cad yellow, this is lemon yellow, this is ultramarine, I mean this is quinacridone magenta, this is phthalo blue, this is ultramarine blue. So that, you know, just build yourself a little color chart, and then from there you can say, okay, this is what I'm picking tonally to go across the painting. So I don't think I have anything else to say about that for now. If you guys have any questions as you watch this, just leave them and I will try to answer them as quickly as possible. So with that, I think we'll let it go. We'll come back on part 2 of this, maybe tomorrow or maybe the next day, and we'll talk about creating earth tones for skin. I paint a lot of paintings now with flesh tones in them, and learning to do that was a little exciting. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. All you need is a few basic colors, and from there you can mix up almost any kind of skin tone you want. So I'll show you that on the next video. Thanks for watching. See you guys. Bye.